Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and today I've got two games to showcase. I haven't been making too many videos lately, but I'm going to try and make up for it with these two games here. Now, I was due to play a tournament series against Futurama, but I don't think that will go ahead. There was a tournament last weekend, best of 3 rounds. It was a elimination tournament for factions. It worked somewhat like cricket, where you have to bowl out the batsman. And it was sort of like that, but with the factions. That's the best analogy I can think of. And since it was Phantom that organised the tournament, it is probably inspired by that, because he's Australian, and I know that they love their cricket there. But yes, this is going to be on Battlebase Beaverton. And speaking of Australian, this map is known for a famous Kane's Wrath Australian. He's known for his play properly clip. I'm not going to say the full quote, but take a look at this clip here.
Play fucking properly! Whoa, what the fuck? No.
And yeah, that is Green Zero. He is known for this map, and it has received a reskin by Desolator Trooper. Looks fantastic. I did remove those bridge segment health bars though, because they weren't really necessary there. However, the lighting, the aesthetics, super awesome in my opinion. We'll be playing versus Senna in this game. We'll be playing as the villain. Senna will be Reaper 17. Let's see what this match is going to be all about. Now, I thought this match stood out for being a pretty excellent one, and it is on R21 as well. I did not submit it to Cybert. I did recently submit a game to Cybert on Tournament Savannah. I didn't want to post that on my channel because I wanted to give Cybert some content, because yeah, I feel like I'm a bit selfish if I save all my best games for my own channel. Now and then I should send something to Cybert so he gets something, the latest and the greatest games that I've played, because I noticed a lot of replays he casts are from like 4 or 5 months ago, and that's not good in my opinion, especially when the game is ever changing. However, I will say this now: I'm not going to be updating Kane's Wrath 1.2 Plus for a very long time. The way it is now is in a stable state. I recently fixed the engineer bug where engineers got killed through structures, not only tier spikes. A lot of people misconceive that as being just the Tyroon spike. It wasn't. It was all the structures in the game. Anyway, that is fixed. It took a ton of time to fix that. Sadly though, I just, you know, despite my efforts, despite fixing all these bugs, the thing that kind of bothers me is the lackluster activity in the competitive PvP scene. Bike Rush, he's playing Red Alert 2 and 1, and even Rivals, I see him stream nowadays. And it's really hard to get games. I am often trying to search for games online, and I just can't get them easily when I'm free. Futurama may want this series to be played on a day where I'm busy. I mean, we are all grown-up adults now. We have commitments in life, and that's just the reality of it. We're not children anymore, which is, you know, a good and a bad thing. Bad in the sense that you have less time. But yeah, this is... to be fair, I did have some time to do these mods, but now I do not. But I did complete a lot of the games. I finished off, I mean, I'm basically going to claim that I did finish off a lot of the things in this game which were unfinished by EA. The developers rushed this game because they were on a strict time limit, and I patched a lot of it. I really did do as much as I possibly could, and the changed notes you can find in the video description. It is the most, how can I put it? It's a patch that is going to adhere to the original game developers' intentions of the game and not strive away too far from it. And that was the goal all along with 1.2 Plus, but I did want to expand the features, like with those blue tip harvesters and the skin changes, and most of all the bugs as well. I had to fix a ton of them, as well as the harvester bug, which only got fixed this year. People said that was possible. Quad turrets, those desync the game forever. That has been fixed. You know, the list goes on and on. Like I said, you can find the video description down below. The 4K mod as well, which is used in this video and has been used in my videos for a long time. Aims to improve the look of the game and make things more readable, because the player colors before weren't particularly accurate. The resolution has dramatically increased. I spent a little under 2 years working on that mod, not only using upscaling but in Photoshop individually, just individually working on every single texture, using the brush tool and the path tool for shapes and all kinds of filters. It was a ton of work, and in the end, was it worth it? Well, in the long term probably was, but it is something that benefits not only those people looking to play the competitive PvP, but also is for casual players who want their game to look a little better. I feel like it gives a better experience for Kane's Wrath overall, and when you use it in conjunction with R21 maps, then you're going to get a decent experience. I may bundle R21 in the 4K mod in the future, so you can have the 4K mod and R21 at the same time enabled, so you can play the campaign with those two things, which might not be a bad thing. Anyways, the flame tanks got into that base there. I'm not really discussing this game too much, but yeah, that flame tank got into that base, and it was stealthed, so I invested a lot of funds into that. I'm going for scorpion tanks, and yeah, it's a decent strategy as not, because you get the laser capacitors. It's the only sub-faction, or not a sub-faction, but yeah, it's the vanilla faction that does get that upgrade. Black Hand, they don't get lasers, but they do get that infantry upgrade, and blue flame, which is super powerful. That would have came in immense use there. EMP about to be ready to use. The decal size on this is a little bit inaccurate, but yeah, I'm going to kill these Seekers here, especially the ones that are on the low health. I'm going to target those ones first. And Seekers are not really a tank, they're a hybrid between a light scout and a tank, I guess. It's a weird unit. It's in its own category. You've got tanks, you've got light vehicles, and you've got the Seeker. The Seeker is just a Seeker. It's its own category. That's what the Seeker is. And it's a unique unit. Trial 59 don't get the Devourer tanks, so they are kind of stuck without a tank until the late game when you get those tripods and Mecha Ps. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter, because you've got cultists which can take your opponent's tanks over. So while you don't have tanks as Traveller, you can just take over your opponent's tanks over with your cultist squads. But yeah, those Seekers are out in strength. As you can see, tons of Seekers. And also, I'm not paying attention to my eco. My harvesters in my main are getting targeted down by those Seekers. They're doing an amazing job here with the multitasking. And I'm going to split off a force of my Scorpion tanks to get some counterattack damage there. I've got 8 of these tanks here. No shard upgrade just done yet for him, but those Scorpion tanks are doing immense damage. And that is exactly what I want to see. No Reaper tripods out just yet for Senate, and these units of his are going to my base, taking out my power plants, which is bad news for me because I don't have an MCV. I lost my Conyard, and these tripods are going to be a problem for me as well. I can run over disintegrators and not take any damage. But yeah, they're pretty action-packed game this. This is why I want to highlight this particular game. From start to finish, there is action in this one. It's a map that seldom is seen, but it does provide for some amazing gameplay. Especially with the EMPs, which I feel like add an extra element to the map. A lot of players forget that it's on this map. It's kind of tucked away in the top and in the south of the map. Scorpion tanks, going to run into this base here. I know I have the window to strike. Shard launcher upgrade is done, so these photon cannons are going to do extra damage to my Scorpion tanks tripod, taking rear damage there from those lasers. And I'm going to run over this husk. One thing you can do if you don't want to destroy husks is just run them over. You can run them over with harvesters as well. It may be a cheap way of doing it, killing husks. I was giving it some thought the other day. I'm always struggling to kill Juggernaut husks as a not faction. Maybe the best thing to do would be to send a harvester, a stealth harvester, to that area and crush the husk. Because it's stealthed and it can do the same thing. So yeah, these Scorpion tanks are doing what they can in destroying this army. And there was some synchronization issues in this particular recording. However, I'm going to correct this in my editor, so that's not a big deal. Lee Scorpion tank in the south. I'm looking at this. It does have the screen emblem on there for the screen chevrons, which is weird, but it is somewhat of a little bit of a bug. It does disappear though when you reselect one of your units and then go back to the unit you were at before. So if I select my elite tank, it will show an odd one. EMP comes down. This is mostly the distract center while this tank gets some damage dealt on that tier 3 because I wanted to promote 2 heroic, and there we see heroic Scorpion tank. And that is exactly what I need. I am floating tons of cash, and these disintegrators and seekers are going to wreck my army unless I can equalize it somehow with this heroic tank. Now one thing is Senna does have that stasis shield, so he can use that to his advantage. I did clear him out of his main. He doesn't have 2 bases anymore, so both of us are stuck on 1 base. I've got 4 harvesters and a war factory. I'm about to get this MCV back out, and if I can get infantry out or even a second war factory, I'm going to be good to go. Black Hand Squad there, going to do a bit of recon. We see Senna doesn't have a tier 3. I did snipe that. MCV back out for me, and this heroic tank's going to get some damage dealt on these seekers. But still, even with that heroic tank, it's not going to be enough to fend back this army. There's 2-3 Reaper tripods there. As good as this heroic tank is, it's not going to be enough to turn the tide and destroy that many tripods. My best bet here is to go for a bunch of infantry, but with no Shardwalkers there, Senna is wise to pull back. But he does have a ton of forces, and since I took crazy economic damage early on, this is going to be bad news for me. Infantry definitely the way to go for me at this point, because I just don't have the time to get an army out if Senna attacks me. The heroic tank though does bait the stasis shield. It's almost certainly going to be destroyed. He's going to surround it with all of those units, and that's really what I need to try and keep alive. So sadly this heroic tank will be going down. Maybe a little bit of a waste there. Could have had it with my main army, but I'm going to go and cut through this base here. And yeah, I really shouldn't have lost that heroic tank the way that I did to that stasis shield. That's one way of Skrin in dealing with heroic units such as that. Now I can no longer go for Scorpion tanks because he does have a bunch of tripods, and those Seekers in numbers as well can pose a threat. But they are used much like Pitbulls. You don't want to spam too many of them against these against these Scorpion tanks with lasers or Predator tanks with railguns. That's a mistake. Getting tons of infantry out. This is my option at this point. I'm going to also tech to tier 3 so I can get the redemption support power. I can cast that on my infantry force in an engagement, and then the infantry, when they die, will spawn as full health Cyborg Awakened, which have more health compared to Mark Kane Awakened. The not awakened are different units entirely. They have the same health as the Enlightened squads. That's to say they spawn with 750 health, and they are much tankier as a result. The Awakened squads only have 400 health, so it's substantially less for the Mock, but that's a tier 1 unit, and you can imagine how broken it would be if those had the same health. That is not a mod related change, that's just how it has always been. But yeah, these tanks here, I don't have a Tiberian Vein, unfortunately for me. The Tiberian Vein was not yet reworked in this game. It is R21, but I only reworked and fixed the Tib Vein in the recent R21, which obviously is going to be the last one I'm doing. Fixed that. It was technically a bug before. Units that aren't on the field should not take damage, so even if they're marked for damage and they go off that field, they shouldn't be taking damage. Another flank from Senna going to take out some of my harvesters here, and this is bad news for me. Yeah, Senna's just got too much of his forces all over the map. I got infantry, 18 squads to be exact, and they are fully upgraded, so they're going to have that infusion upgrade and confessor squad leader. Senna can lose a bunch of forces to that. There is a tripod husk in the north which I can take. I'm not going to get the shields. I need the shield upgrade to get that. But if he reclaims Husk, then of course he will get that shield on his tripod again. Harvesters being destroyed, being rallied over to that green Tiberium field, and now my harvesters need to get back to work. Harvester going to be falling here, and I deem here's probably the ideal time to start throwing down these EMPs, getting some damage dealt on these gunwalkers to EMP them first before using the EMP ability. And as you see here, all of these Shardwalkers are being destroyed and taken out by infantry. I'm using EMP to great effect, and I'm minimizing the casualties of my infantry. EMPing those forces, minimizing the losses, and Zenith is going to lose the majority of his Shardwalker army. That was not enough Shardwalkers, and that is good for me. And I've also got this Commando as well, which is going to be really helpful against these Reaper tripods. I'm going to be able to destroy those, and it will allow me to just focus on the tripods. So as long as I keep a handful of tanks around, which is difficult because Senna does have tripods in my base now, but that Commando can take out those tripods. Now, looking back on this, I don't know if it was a mistake leaving this force of mine in the north without a Commando. It may have been, because he's got that buzzer hive with buzzers constantly spawning. Would have been helpful to have a Commando here. Yeah, these heroic tanks as well could have been alive still, destroying those Shardwalkers, and that would have been a very good thing for me. These buzzers as well wouldn't have posed a threat, so that was potentially an issue, a problem for me. And there's also Husks in the north. I mean, is it north or south? I don't know. There's no compass for me to know, but yeah, there's Husks down there, and I could have had those if my infantry was moving a little sooner. I've got a ton of infantry here, no economy, but the tripods I need to try and reclaim. I've got 2 harvesters, but not enough income to build a refinery. I can sell up and build a refinery, but I just don't have the time to do so. And Senna is gonna spot my Conyard here. So despite my best efforts, is it going to be enough? We'll see. I've got to deal with Shardwalkers. He's got 3-4 Shardwalkers out on the map. There's no garrisonable structures for me to garrison up. But yeah, I've got the harvesters, and I can build a refinery technically, but it's just not. I just don't have time, as mentioned. It's likely he has exhausted the Tiberium on his field as well. So this game is very, very close, but these Shardwalkers can be a problem, especially if he goes in for the crush, which he's doing here. But that is going to be it for me. I just don't have anything else now to combat this force of Reaper 17. That was really close, and I thought that was a pretty good game to showcase on Battlebase Beaverton. If I had moved that instantly a little bit sooner to those tripod husks, I could have sealed this game, or even that Commando. If I had kept it with that force, it could have been milking the buzzers out of the buzzer hives, killing those descents, which killed the Scorpion tanks. Those Scorpion tanks could have been focusing on those Shardwalkers, and that could have resulted in a very different outcome. So yeah, that could have gone either way in my opinion, and I thought that was a really good game. And if you enjoyed that game, then then don't forget to leave a like on this video. But before you go, I've got another game to showcase, because it's going to be a double whammy this. So let's go into game number 2 right now. Okay guys, and I am back to do game number 2. There's going to be 2 games in this video, and this one is going to be set on a different occasion. However, still going to be R21 versus Senna. We'll be playing as the either Vanilla Kane, Vanilla Nod, or Kane. But I do remember this game being pretty noteworthy, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I'm still going to cast it nonetheless and give you all some insight. That previous game I just casted though, man, if I had made some decisions a little bit different here and there, I probably could have won that game. Despite losing so many harvesters, I was in a good position to take it. That early blue Tiberium I was taking in was great for me. I believe I was also stealing his blue tip. Rarely see Tournament Stadium nowadays because it isn't in the ranked map pool, but there are many amazing new map additions that are ranked nowadays, like Tournament Oasis and the Tournament Savannah map, which I do particularly enjoy. That latter map was featured in Cybert's replay of mine versus Assassin Spy. Very good game, highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it already. I would have featured it in my channel, and it seems like I've got the game audio in this game, so I guess I'm going to use the game sound in this one. One thing about the C&C3 music is it is a bit generic because every documentary uses that. And I'm like, wait a second. No, I guess not. Leaf's like, nope, I'm not listening to that generic C&C3 music. Because yeah, every documentary, I mean, it feels like it, but every documentary has that in it. So I'm going to be versus Senna here as the Steel Talons, so not versus Steel Talons. Difficult to say who has a lead in this matchup. I would say Steel Talons is a good chance if they get an army of mammoth tanks, not have a difficult time in dealing with mass mammoths. Though the issue with Steel Talons is their anti-infantry. Despite getting that OP ammo upgrade, which by the way is AP ammo for all of you who don't know, but it is known as OP ammo in the community because it is very powerful. Anyway, they get that upgrade, but the Wolverines, they, while being super powerful, they do have their weaknesses. They don't have very much armor, and if they did, they would be broken. But you need them in numbers against infantry, and they are susceptible to being splashed down. You're going to have any sniper teams. You do get hammerheads though, which are very powerful against infantry. And nowadays the Grenadier squads have faster projectile speed, so you can put them inside of hammerheads and probably deal amazing damage against infantry. Maybe even MRTs with Grenadiers inside would be a viable anti-infantry option for Steel Talons, but yeah, you don't have very many options as Steel Talons against infantry. You can probably even push your MCV and put watchtowers down. That is a solid strategy. In fact, that is what you're recommended to do, because the Titans can shoot over buildings. Juggernauts, or in the case of Steel Talons, the Behemoths can shoot over structures as well. The Behemoths get 10% additional armor compared to the Juggernaut, so that's a faction-specific advantage for the Steel Talons. One thing that Steel Talons don't get though is advanced infantry like Zone Raiders and Zone Troopers, so they don't have an easy time against stealth tanks. You need to use sensor pods on the Orcas, deploy them on your Tiberium field so you can see those stealth tanks coming. And you need to put some extra micro and effort into positioning units on the map to contend with those stealth units. But yeah, sensor pods can be an amazing counter, an amazing tool to take out those units. So far, this game hasn't seen so much action. Cyber at this point would be pretty bored because I know a lot of that doesn't happen in the early game, but it does give you time as a caster to talk about things. The slow opening in many Kane Drive games does allow for you to talk about things without it getting too heated up too soon. That last game though, I talked maybe too much, missed a lot of the action, but yeah, you guys I'm sure did not miss a beat of it just by watching. Airfield though down for Senna, no surprises there, he does like hammerheads. And no audio sync issues with this stream, so it makes me wonder if it's an OBS related issue. Catalyst missile comes down, that is a brand new catalyst missile decal that I made. It does fit correctly the support power radius, so I can get a more accurate reading on the one click if I can hit 2 refs, or one. In that case it was only 1 refinery. There have been many examples of me getting 2 refs where previously it was a gamble, but yeah, nowadays you know for sure if you can get 2 or not. I've got the stealth tanks out now, and the problem with stealth tanks is they are very lightly armored, and against the army coming towards me, the micro has to be pretty flawless. And this bike is not heroic, but it's doing me some heroic deeds in taking out those harvesters, in inflicting as much economic damage as possible to Senna, because I need that dealt based on the amount of losses I'm taking here. And look at the stealth tanks here getting intercepted, so that was unfortunate for me. These stealth tanks not really doing too well, and the Pibble army's just moving into my base, a beam cannon and an avatar. Let me just put it this way, I am not defending this off with a singular beam cannon. I mean, the most that beam cannon can do right now is probably charge the obelisk up, increase the rate of fire by 10%. Yeah, okay, that's better than nothing. Flame tank doing what it can. Senate moving his pitballs into the flame tank, which is excellent for me. I can equip that to my avatar. Not exactly sure why I made a flame tank. The Nod ones don't start with any veterancy, but you don't expect them as a GI player. So the last thing you expect when you're playing Nod Vanilla is to get hit by a flame tank in the late game. But I can equip that to my avatars. And am I really going to equip my avatar with a flame tank? That's something I rarely see. Yeah, I do. So I've got an upgraded avatar with a flame tank and a secondary beam. Not only do avatars get the option to commandeer the flame tanks and beam cannons for an additional weapon, but they can also get stealth detection by equipping an attack bike or stealth by destroying an allied stealth tank. But yeah, I don't recommend that because, for one, they don't stealth while really damaged, and two, you're paying $1,800 to stealth one unit, whereas you can stealth a bunch of units for the $3,000, and yeah, it just doesn't make any logical sense stealthing an avatar with a stealth tank. I don't really imagine that being good in any situation. Maybe I just don't see it. There's no situation where stealthing an avatar or stealth tank is worth it, because you're always going to need that stealth tank for anti-air. So it's just kind of useless. Maybe for a campaign mission, it's good, or where for a campaign it's for sure good because it's going to be stealth already. The bikes are good for stealth detection in the late game against a Nod faction, so we're talking Nod mirrors here. Yes, it's good in that situation. And I'm going to get hit here by a bunch of pitballs, but I did garrison that building up with 3 rockets. It's going to be incredibly hard without grenadiers to take out a lot of health on that one there. And that singular bunker is going to be able to thwart that attack. Behemoths out there for Senna, and I've got sources situated everywhere. I'm building stealth tanks up because he's got those hammerheads, and he's building hammerheads to counter those infantry forces. And I'm going to use these hammerheads to quickly snipe those hammerheads before they get into range of my infantry. My infantry can dispatch the rest. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and target those hammerheads down real quick, and then the forces of Senna will be forced to retreat. Yeah, he's going to have to be pulling back to his base. The stealth tanks, I've got 4 or 5 of them out on this map, and a bunch of infantry. There's an avatar there with a dual beam and a flame tank. I'm going to move that in. And I haven't set up an expansion, but we see Senna has got himself down an expansion as well. One of the behemoths do fall. And yeah, this avatar, its best bet of dealing damage here would be just moving into that base, utilizing its flamethrower to inflict maximum damage. There is a Marv on my field. Stealth tanks taking damage there, and we can see these avatars causing so much problems. I'm transitioning out of this into a Vertigo bomber transition. Vertigos can target aircraft with their rear gun. That actually functions as a rear gun in R21 now. That's to say it can't shoot from the front, but when you get rear sight on enemy aircraft, it will deal catastrophic damage. Marv taking damage, but it does have that quad engineer garrison, which is providing a lot of healing potential, and those hammerheads are coming in for the reinforcements. And I'm going to barely have enough damage here to take out that Marv, that stealth tank, getting the final shot off on that quad engineer Marv. Super difficult to kill, but I do manage it there. Floating a ton of resources here, but I'm going to burn them quickly by building these Vertigo bombers. Here are the Vertigos going in for that attack run on those hammerheads, but unfortunately for me, the hammerheads do retreat from that position. The Senna knows that there are Vertigos there, so he's obviously going to be maneuvering his forces around to avoid the splash damage that these inflict. And I'm going to target the ground in front of my enemy units so I can kill those units whilst they are moving. I killed 2 of the Wolverines there when otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get neither of them. But I'm going to use these Vertigos to inflict damage on those jugs, not to kill them, but just to damage them, because then it'll open up some possibilities to these stealth tanks. I may be able to go in later and finish them off with those stealth tanks. And with an elite stealth tank there, then there is always the chance of that going to heroic, especially when it is taking out these juggernauts. So there we see the elite stealth tank, and I'm going to micro this elite stealth tank to target the harvester. So as you see, I'm manipulating this to gain the veterancy, and I'm not letting the other ones steal it from that elite stealth tank. Elite stealth tank there taking out more pit bulls. I get myself a couple pit bull kills and a harvester, so it's already a good way towards that heroic promotion rank. But this game has not yet been decided, especially considering how Senate has a fully saturated expansion. I don't have any income of my own, and my field is also being camped, so I don't have access to any income, but I do have a Redeemer, and that Redeemer is going to be great to just be a distraction. Vertigo comes in, and now I see 2 Behemoths. Could have finished off that second one if necessary, but that stealth tank does promote to heroic, so a good job on my part there, microing that stealth tank to heroic. And now I see this party of pitbulls chasing my heroic stealth tank. Those aren't going to be able to finish it off, or they could do so, but it does barely retreat and get back into stealth. Senna, if he had pursued that, maybe could have killed it. Hard to tell, but then at the same time the Redeemer would have gone into his base, and that would have dealt huge damage. It would have cancelled his expansion. So yeah, it was a difficult call for Senna to make there. Either way, this heroic stealth tank has healed up. It heals incredibly quickly, whilst heroic and another 2 harvesters for Senna can't afford to ignore this stealth tank any longer. It's causing so much damage. That Redeemer garrisoned up with that rocket launcher and flamethrower is going to be very effective at base destroying, but not so much against those Behemoths. The Behemoths are the natural counter to the epic unit, but not against this heroic stealth tank. Vertigo is going in once again for another attack run. The Redeemer does get EMP'd there, sadly for me, and it's also revealing its rear armor. So that's going to be taking a ton of damage, but that's okay because the real epic unit is this stealth tank. That is really what I want to try and keep alive. So despite this Redeemer going down potentially, it's just not going to matter because I have the stealth tank, which Senna is ignoring. The Redeemer does finally go down though, but the stealth tank is causing the damage, taking out those pit bulls, and it's just leaving the juggernauts without much support. I don't have an expansion yet. I've been long leeching Tiburon, also rallied some harvesters to my main field to recollect that Tiburon that had grown back. Yeah, this stealth tank is going back in for another attack run, and it just goes to show what you can achieve with stealth tanks once fully promoted. Behemoth gets reclaimed there. Pitbulls are the name of the game. I guess if you have like a million pitbulls, the heroic stealth tank will finally go down. Senna should move his AMCV along with this attack so he can put down watchtowers to deal with this infantry, because I only have a stealth tank and a handful of infantry units left in this game. I'm putting down a disruption tower to make him think I have more than I actually do, and I do finally establish an expansion as well. I've got a force in the north which I'm going to use to flank Senna. From up there, might be able to cut off some reinforcements. The juggernauts are falling in one singular volley to this stealth tank. Such a powerful unit. Not sure what's more effective, a heroic stealth tank or a heroic avatar. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. After seeing a number of my games with both of these units in play, which one do you think is more effective? The avatar with that dual beam, or the stealth tank? Which one is more effective when heroic? I have not made my mind up. I've seen both perform equally as well, and in this situation here, I feel both would achieve the same thing, or possibly the avatar would have done better here. It would just not even care about pitbulls. But yeah, these stealth tanks also being a menace, targeting those behemoths. But Senna can reclaim back those husks because he does have his construction yard right there, and that is going to be sold off. So Senna opting to just sell up here. He's not even going to try and fight that stealth tank. It's just so powerful. It's a game-changing unit at that point, and I was able to get it by microing my forces. And that's what I like about Kane's draft. You don't have to win through macro. You can be behind economically, but you can control your units better, and you can win, 10 to 1 in trades, in unit cost to cost effectiveness. And that's why I like this game. It's a good blend between Red Alert 3 and C&C3. I just like how it is done in this game the most, with guerrilla tactics really being effective. Anyways guys, thank you very much for watching this series and these 2 games here. If you did like it, then don't forget the like button. I really do appreciate that. And if you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay notified of my future uploads, then yeah, don't forget to do that as well. Anyways guys, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.